7 discoveries that scientists still can't explain. Decospheres in Costa Rica. Since the 1930s, some of the most mysterious discoveries have been made over time, in the Decospheres Delta of Costa Rica. In this Central American nation, more than 300 strange stone spheres have been discovered that are a few centimeters wide and weighs more than 16 tons. Scientists and archaeologists have been trying to find out the reason behind the creation of this stone. But they still haven't figured out how or why they were ever created. But they do know that these artifacts were made by people who lived between 700 CE and 1530 CE. As per Atlas Obscura, these spherical stones were carved out of large boulders by old-fashioned pecking and grinding methods. Lost City of Atlantis. To date, nobody knows if the City of Atlantis is a work of fiction or it really exists. Many call Atlantis a mythical nation, but several historians believe that even if the city does not exist today, it was once a real place. Plato wrote about Atlantis as a powerful kingdom in his dialogues Timaeus and Critias. Plato also said that around 9600 BC, the island sank into the ocean. There have been several theories about the lost city of the Atlantic, but there is no evidence to prove or deny its existence. The city of Atlantis is also linked to the Greek island of Santorini by some people because it was once destroyed by a volcanic eruption, but the story somehow doesn't add up. Hobbits of Flores. In 2003, 18,000-year-old remains of Flores man, who was actually a woman, was discovered on the Indonesian island of Flores. When researchers studied this, they thought that the remains belonged to a human. But the only problem was that the skull they excavated was really small, it was less than a third of the size of ours. They studied the remains more and later developments revealed that the bones belonged to a Homo floresiensis and not a Homo sapien. Homo floresiensis is a different species of archaic human that existed after the Neanderthals went extinct. Because of the size of the skull, it was nicknamed Hobbit. Along with the remains, they also found some sophisticated tools nearby. Now the question is how a hominoid with a brain of that size developed such complex tools. Naga fireballs. Imagine seeing a glowing ball rise from the river. Sounds shocking, terrific and thrilling at the same time, isn't it? Well, the first person who saw a mysterious glowing ball rise from Thailand's Mekong River must have felt the same. But this phenomenon is not something new. Thousands of these strange orbs have been seen rising over Thailand's Mekong River for quite a few years. Reportedly, these balls rise up to 600 feet and then disappear. Some locals think that there is a giant serpent living in the Mekong, Naga, and these burning red lights come from the mouth of that serpent. That is how the phenomenon was named Naga fireballs. On the other hand, scientists believe that the deposits in the water decompose and turn to methane gas, and the bubbles of the gas rise up to the river. The bubbles ignite when they meet oxygen at the top. Marfa lights. The theory that has been applied to Naga fireballs can be applied here as well. But the only difference is that there is not much water in the desert as compared to the river in the Mekong. As per reports and witnesses, these orbs are about the size of basketballs and vary in color. And these orbs are slightly unusual and strange as they twinkle, dart, hover, and even split into two. In 1883, a farmer saw these lights while he was herding his cattle, and that was the first mention of Marfa lights. But he thought that they were campfires, but when the area was studied, no ashes were found. Similar to the Naga fireballs, scientists believe that the gases that rise from desert swamps might be the cause of this phenomenon. Underwater monolith in the Mediterranean. A 39-foot monolith was discovered in the year 2015 on the seafloor off the coast of Sicily. The divers went down to examine the statue and learned that it was man-made, as there were an array of holes that had been drilled into the statue. They tested the rock and found out that the rock was 40,000 years old, from the last ice age. It didn't match the other rocks on the seabed that surrounded the monolith. The newly discovered underwater pillar was erected by the people who lived on these islands during the late Pleistocene period. Mona Lisa's remains. Everybody is aware of the popular painting of the Mona Lisa. Made by Leonardo da Vinci, it is the most popular painting in the world. Art detectives and historians excavated 500-year-old remains from Florence, Italy, and after much discussion, it was found out that the remains belonged to the muse of Leonardo da Vinci. Some believe that Lisa Gherardini del Giocondo is the woman in da Vinci's most famous painting, the Mona Lisa. She passed away in 1542 at the age of 63. Allegedly, she was married to a rich merchant, and after her husband passed away, she became a nun. With the remains, her skull wasn't found. So, until they find the skull, it is difficult for them to digitally reconstruct her face to be sure that she is Mona Lisa. But according to them, the odds are high.